An American driver pulls off the highway, orders a meal, and gets it just minutes later. Today, this feels so normal that almost no one thinks about it. But less than a century ago, eating this way barely existed. Food was slower, restaurants were more local, and every kitchen worked differently. Then a small hamburger stand in California began changing the rules. It changed how food was prepared, how businesses were built, and what customers expected. Soon, Americans expected things to be fast, cheap, familiar, and available almost everywhere. And those expectations would spread far beyond hamburgers. McDonald's did not simply become one of America's biggest restaurants. It helped teach America to live faster. To understand what changed, we have to see what eating out looked like before McDonald's. Drive-in restaurants were popular places for young Americans with cars. Customers parked, waited for a car hop, ordered from a large menu, and waited again. Restaurants often depended on cooks, servers, dishes, and complicated menus. Richard and Maurice McDonald ran this kind of drive-in in San Bernardino, California. Their restaurant was successful, but the brothers saw a problem hidden inside that success. Most customers kept ordering the same few things. So the brothers asked a radical question. What if they removed almost everything customers did not really need? They were about to stop thinking like restaurant owners and start thinking like factory designers. In 1948, the brothers shut down their restaurant and rebuilt the entire system. They cut the menu down to the items people ordered most. They removed car hop and made customers come directly to the window. They replaced plates and silverware with disposable packaging. Then they redesigned the kitchen around speed. Every worker was given a narrow task. One person grilled the meat. Another prepared the buns. Another handled the fries. The kitchen began to resemble an automobile assembly line. The brothers called their method the Speedee service system. The goal was not simply to cook a better hamburger. The goal was to remove wasted time from every step. Speed made lower prices possible, while repetition made the food more predictable. The brothers thought they had improved a restaurant, but they had actually created a machine that could be copied. A few years later, a traveling salesman named Ray Kroc noticed something unusual. Kroc sold multi-mixer milkshake machines to restaurants across the country. One small restaurant in California needed far more mixers than most. Kroc wanted to know why. So in 1954, he traveled to San Bernardino. What he found was unlike the restaurants he knew. Customers lined up, ordered simple meals, and received them almost immediately. Behind the window, workers moved with the rhythm of a production line. Kroc saw something the brothers had not fully pursued. This system did not have to stay in San Bernardino. It could be repeated in Chicago, New York, Texas, and almost anywhere else. Kroc joined the business and pushed aggressively for expansion. In 1955, he opened a McDonald's restaurant in Des Plaines, Illinois. But opening more restaurants created a dangerous problem. How could McDonald's grow everywhere without becoming different everywhere? Franchising already existed, but McDonald's pushed consistency to another level. Kroc wanted every restaurant to follow the same system. The kitchen layout had to be controlled. The cooking process had to be controlled. Even the customer experience had to feel familiar. A customer no longer needed to know the owner or the cook. They only needed to recognize the brand. The Golden Arches became a promise of predictability. A hamburger in one city was supposed to feel like a hamburger in another. That idea quietly changed how Americans trusted businesses. Trust began moving from individual people to repeatable systems. The model made it possible to expand much faster than one owner could alone. McDonald's also gained greater control over locations and franchise operations as its business model evolved. Other industries would embrace similar ideas of repetition, branding, and scale. America was becoming a nation where the system could matter as much as the product. McDonald's was expanding at exactly the moment America itself was changing. Millions of families were moving from crowded cities into growing suburbs. Car ownership was becoming central to everyday life. New highways connected cities, suburbs, and distant states. Businesses began following those cars. McDonald's fit this new world almost perfectly. It did not require customers to spend an hour sitting at a table. Families could stop, eat quickly, and continue their journey. Large signs made the restaurant visible from the road. Parking lots made it easy to arrive by car. Later, drive-thrus would make the connection between fast food and the automobile even stronger. McDonald's did not create suburban America or the highway system, but it became one of the businesses best designed to thrive inside them. Soon, the same golden arches appeared on road trips across the country. The American landscape was becoming more connected, more mobile, and more familiar. The deeper change was not what Americans ate, but what they began to expect. McDonald's taught customers that a meal could arrive in minutes. Speed slowly became part of the product itself. Customers also expected prices to stay within reach. And they expected the food to taste familiar every time. These expectations did not stay inside fast food restaurants. Retailers learned that people valued convenience. Hotels learned the power of predictable experiences. Service businesses learned to simplify complicated processes. Customers became less tolerant of waiting. Convenience stopped feeling like a luxury. It became something people believed they should receive every day. Decades later, delivery apps and one-click shopping would push that expectation even further. McDonald's did not create every part of the convenience economy, but it became one of America's clearest early symbols of a life with less waiting and less friction. But every system built for speed creates trade-offs. The same system that made McDonald's efficient also made many jobs easier to standardize. Workers could be trained quickly because each task was carefully defined. That helped restaurants expand without depending on highly skilled cooks. But it also made many workers easier to replace. The fast food model also encouraged Americans to eat more meals on the move. Convenience made highly processed meals easier to buy again and again. Over time, fast food became part of larger debates about diet and public health. There was also a cultural cost that was harder to measure. For generations, American towns had been filled with independent diners and roadside restaurants. Now the same national brands could appear hundreds of miles apart. That sameness gave travelers something valuable. They knew what they would get before they even walked inside. But predictability can slowly replace surprise. The great strength of the McDonald's system was also the source of its deepest criticism. By the late 20th century, McDonald's story was no longer only American. The golden arches began appearing in cities around the world. For many people, the restaurant became a visible symbol of American culture. But America was exporting more than hamburgers. It was exporting a business system. The restaurants used standardized operations across enormous distances. Franchise owners could operate local businesses inside a global structure. Supply chains had to deliver predictable ingredients at massive scale. Training systems had to reproduce the same methods again and again. Yet McDonald's also learned that complete sameness would not work everywhere. Menus began adapting to local tastes, religions, and food traditions. The system stayed recognizable while parts of the product changed. That balance became one of the secrets of global expansion. Other American companies would follow similar paths into international markets. America had exported not only a restaurant, but a powerful way of organizing modern consumer life. Today, a customer can enter McDonald's and receive a meal without thinking about the system behind it. That may be the clearest sign of how successful the system became. Its greatest influence may not be the billions of hamburgers it has sold. It may be the habits Americans stopped noticing. Fast service feels normal. Identical products feel reassuring. Convenience feels like something we should always have. And waiting feels like a problem that someone should solve. McDonald's did not create modern America by itself. But it helped shape the systems that modern America learned to expect. McDonald's did not simply become part of America, because in many ways America became a little more like McDonald's.